Okay, so I'm standing here with Jerker Andersson and I exclusive interview. And I have some questions regarding the platform and the new Zeekr 7X. But before I ask the questions, can you just briefly explain what your role are at Zeekr?
Yep. So I work for Zeekr Tech EU, the European office in Gothenburg, and I'm chief engineer for software, and that goes for all the way from the architecture to the functional description and the functional realization and verification.
Yeah.
For all the functions, because they are very much intertwined. There's no clear borderline between infotainment and ADAS and digital services. It all comes together.
Yeah, so it's kind of integrated in
Yes, right.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Great, so we're going to jump into the car, the 7X here behind us. This is the long-range version. We're going to sit in the front and have some discussion regarding content I think is important.
Yes.
Yes.
Looking forward.
Yes. My first question, my initial question about the platform as such, but also concerning the 7X. I mean, the CEA platform is a premium platform delivering a lot of different cars in the Geely company. That includes the 7X as we are sat in now. I know that you're great when it comes to charging, for instance. I mean, the 800 volt system with 480 kilowatts of charging performance, that's class leading.
Yeah, it's. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, you really should be. I have a question regarding the efficiency and how you at Zeekr work with making the efficiency better. I mean, I have tested all the cars in Sweden, the Zeekr 001, and now this one. And I can tell that this one already feels a bit more efficient than the Zeekr 001, for instance.
Yes, and I know that there are, without going into details, there are many small pieces that makes a difference. I know that my Chinese colleagues, they have added a new type of semiconductors in the drive system, and that gives that can give a 1 or 2 or 3% there. And then I know that the Swedish team have contributed with optimization about the how to engage the engine, as well as how to optimize the regeneration without jeopardizing the drive feeling, so to say.
Okay.
That's there, and I think that I see a lot of things in addition coming up, intelligent ACC that will be topology driven, so to say, uphill, downhill, etc. There's something to be gained there as well.
Okay, so the car then will be, it's not available yet, but hopefully in future cars and updates, but then it helps the car to be more proactive with the ACC system.
Yes,
depending on the road conditions.
These are things that we work with continuously. Right?
And also with the motors, as you said, you make them with software and intelligence work more optimized. Even if it can be the same hardware, you utilize the hardware in a better way, in a more efficient way. And that also gains efficiency for a more range at the end.
Yes. So I think that there are probably, we have to work on, there's not one miracle thing. We have to work on all aspects here. Right?
Yes. And that's
so
nice.
It's in the long run, so to say.
Yeah. So how are you guys working with the platform? I know you for instance, are sitting in Gothenburg, in Sweden, and I know that there is a lot of people from Zeekr sitting in Sweden and working together with China, for instance.
Yeah, and we have now found a new, mature work balance between Europe and China. So, for example, in the mechanical area, mechanical architecture, we have just a small team, like around 10 people, who really do the advanced architecture design from the mechanical aspects.
Yeah.
And then the team in China, they take over and industrialize it and implement it in the different car models. So, and that applies also to the electrical architecture. That's the same there. We are trying to be the lead and do the early high added value work. and then let the guys in China who are super efficient to do the industrialization. The third item where I'm very proud is when it comes to vehicle dynamics.
Yeah.
Also there we have a rather small team, but they are highly appreciated. The Chinese colleagues love them. They would always like them to go to China and optimize not only the European cars, but also to optimize the global products, to make sure that we have the right damping, the right characteristics, etc. So that is where we, so to say, in the early phase and throughout the project, that how we contribute best from Europe side.
So that's a cross-involvement, and you are early into the process, creating new models, even here from Sweden, and providing the factories and the manufacturing process good information and good ideas to build good cars.
Yes, and then throughout the process, and then we have the second role, take the European glasses on and see how we should refine and optimize the global product to fit specifically to European needs.
Yeah, to adapt it.
To adapt it, functions should be tailorized to the European taste. We have a number of things, RDS radio, DAB radio, languages, HMI, towing hooks, etc., that are very specific for us. So then we focus upon that one. And in the end, we also take care of verifying that the product is meeting the requirements. So then we have basically three legs: early global involvement, a European spec involvement, as well as verifying before we hand it over to the customer. And then we also have the customer dialogue.
Yeah, so the feedback after the customer actually bought the car, received it.
And here we have geared up lately. So we have a specific app where we get continuously feedback from both present and future customers. We also have ambassadors meeting where we meet key customers on a regular basis every month. Things are moving so fast, so we are listening to the customer, adapting the functionality to any new ideas, and then we bring it up with over-the-air update. So it just, the car is never ready. It just needs to be maintained and optimized all the way.
So it's a continuous development and evolution. And I actually heard yesterday at the presentation that you also work a kind of full stack through the organization. And with full stack, I mean all the way from the ADAS system, the software, down to the actual hardware and the building of the car integrates in the organization to be able to work quicker, but also understand each other to create a good product. And then, as you say now, you also involve customers. So then you also add the customer-driven development to create value for the final customer.
Yeah. And we do need to do like that because development goes that fast. So if we just start in a traditional way, define it early, and then just industrialize some waterfall, then we will be old when we launch a car, right?
Yeah.
We continuously have to update.
So that's the old way of working, and that doesn't work anymore.
No.
Because the evolution is so quick, so you need to adapt. And
Yes.
I know for sure I've been driving electric cars for a while now, and some manufacturers understand that. And when you buy the car and then sell it, it's actually better sometimes when you sell it because you have more functions, the software is better, and the car has kind of evolved during your ownership. And that's partly thanks to the customer feedback, but also your internal processes of making the car better and constantly involved.
That is definitely a good summary of that aspect. That is exactly how we work.
I have another question for you, and that's regarding the suspension. You have a newly developed air suspension for the 7X compared to the 001. I like the suspension of the 001, but this one feels even better after driving it. I can't, without saying too much about the driving experience, there is a difference in the suspension. And we talked with your colleague Eric, also from the Swedish office. I don't remember his surname.
Erik Axelsson,
Erik Axelsson, yeah. So he gave us some nice insight. There's a new supplier or vendor of their suspension, so it's not the same manufacturer as the 001. If I understood him right, it was more or less optimized in a better way. So it was better balanced between the front and the rear when it comes to the dampening. And then the dampers doesn't need to work that hard to be able to create a nice and comfortable ride for you. So, so you don't need to stiff it up too much, and you can play a bit more with the dynamics of the car with this new balance.
And I think that is typically one example where we are, so to say, have very specific competence of vehicle dynamics here in Sweden, and where our Chinese colleagues really appreciate that. And in this car, Eric and his team was coming in earlier, so to say. So they had more time to optimize it, and I would say that they refined it to European taste, but I would say that to a big extent it was also carried back to the China version, so to say.
Okay, so it's so it goes both ways.
So it's not only that we twist it to European needs, we also help to bring the Chinese version one step better.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's very fun, it's very nice for me to see that we can work as a global team here, right? And that we are appreciated, and I appreciate very much my Chinese colleagues getting things quickly done, right? With efficiency, but they also appreciate our specific skills.
I have another question for you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that's regarding data privacy.
Yes.
We talked briefly yesterday about the data privacy, but I want to ask you the question more officially here in front of the camera. I know that there has been a lot of customers that have been like, GDPR and data security is really important in European measurements, have been for a while now. People can be concerned about data like being shipped back to China, for instance, European data. How is it isolated? Can you also explain about the privacy modes? When it comes to all the data interaction with the car, we have set up a duplicate system here in Europe, in a data center in Frankfurt. So it's separated in that case? So the data, once a car is built, then how it is built is, so to say, exported out to the data center in Frankfurt. And then all the interaction, all the data collection, the remote diagnostics, etc., all of that remains in Europe. And our Chinese colleagues, they have no access whatsoever. Okay. They are, so to say, cut off from the access. It all stays here in Europe. So it's actually two totally separate data collectors, one for Europe in Frankfurt. That's totally separated from the one in China. Yep. And that is for, you are very right there, that is for several things. It's for the remote diagnostics. It's a matter of which car have got a OTA update, what kind of trouble codes does each and every car have, what are the driving habits for statistical purpose, etc. Yeah. So we can learn from the customer usage. All of that stays in Europe. That is for sure. And on top of that, we also have a cybersecurity operation center, also located only with the back end here in Europe, monitored by Swedish people or Swedish located people. And they are sitting here and monitoring if there is any suspicious activities, if the car happens to be close to be hacked, etc. Yeah. All that kind of surveillance or to see that nothing goes wrong, that all stays here. Okay. So that is about separation of data. Yeah. The other thing that is important is the privacy. The privacy part. That is for me really important. We have been very picky about following all the GDPR aspects here. So you have here on top of that, you can restrict what kind of data that the car is giving away, right? And if you like, you can cut off the car from the rest, and then you cannot have remote diagnostics, then you have to go to the workshop. But if the preference is that you would like to have full privacy,
then you just go in and disconnect yourself. So
And that's full privacy that goes both ways. So that means that you, as you say, you cut the car from the connection, and so you don't provide information to the servers, the central servers, and you don't even get OTI updates because you cut your car off the internet, actually.
That is correct, right?
Yeah.
And then we can say that there are some legal aspects like e-call, for example.
Yeah.
If you that must be there, right?
For security reasons. Yeah.
For the security reason, and there are some data collections that are also obliged by law here for statistical purpose that I have to hand over to the authorities.
Okay.
But that are legal stuff.
So that's illegal.
All the other stuff, then you can choose to be disconnected if you want.
Okay. But that's a good thing to know, and you set that in the system actually, so you can set it in a kind of a total privacy mode.
You set that in the system, and you can also by the menu, if you have allowed certain apps to have access to the microphone, to the GPS, then you can pull back that
privileges or permissions.
So that is something that we have been adding to fully comply to the intention of the GDPR. So we have been a little picky here,
But it's good for the consumer, and it's good to know, because I get these questions fairly often where people like, but what if my information is sent outside EU, etc. But it's good to hear that you have taken measures for that, and it's good to hear it coming from you in a more official way. That was a great answer. I have actually a final one, and that's a more private question for you. I know that you have been in the industry for a long time.
Right.
And you have been focusing on electronic systems of cars.
Yes.
Yeah. And yesterday you also told me that you, in the early stage, worked with the Volvo 240. That's an iconic car, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and now you have kind of stayed within the Volvo universe from now on together with Geely. And it must have been a really exciting journey. I mean, from a 240 to what we're sitting in now, a 7X.
Yes, and I would say that things when I started in '87, then I was design release engineer for Volvo 240 with definitely bug-free car because there was no software in the car.
No.
That we and then everything was very predictable. You know exactly what would happen next year, etc. And now I'm in a situation where things are moving so rapidly. And as we said earlier, it's continuous development of the cars, and it moves very quickly. And sometimes you are not happy, or the customer is unhappy. They would like to have something else. Then we fix it quickly with over-the-air update. So I love it, but it may not be for everybody because there is a level of unpredictability.
Yeah.
What will I do tomorrow? I don't have a clue.
No.
I'm here today, and I have to fix and do my best for today. Tomorrow is another day. Anything can happen. And it's a little charmist, right?
It's a little charming, and it's quite an evolution, or more or less a revolution that has happened in the car industry, especially since the electric vehicles came into the picture. Because now we're actually talking about everything is controlled very granularly. Everything is digital and needs electricity to work. You have a lot of computers spread out in the car. You need to talk with the hardware, interconnect every system to work in a symbiosis.
Right.
So it's like a rolling computer we're sitting in now. And I know this one is running the latest chipset for, was it NVIDIA?
It's
Snapdragon
from Qualcomm. But there is also the management style. When we are in the same company, we have the Swedish management style and work habits, and then the Chinese management style.
Two very different styles.
They are two different, but they have to coexist here. And that is fascinating to. Well, it's not problem-free, right?
Of course
not.
But
if you get to know each other, if you spend some time and have some interest, then it's 1 + 1 is more than 2, I would say here. Because then we we can compensate it with some humbleness. Then we compensate and for each weaknesses of both sides and of the strengths of both sides, right? So it's fantastic.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So that was actually everything for today. Thank you so much for
thank you
for a great
it was
chat
a pleasure.
and great answers.
I hope this will be your dream car, the 7X.
I mean, this is for sure one of my favorite cars. And
Good.
Currently I have a Tesla Model Y, and the lease is out in 2 months.
Right.
So this is one of my potential cars in my shortlist.
Perfect.
Yeah. And that was before the test drive today.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then even more so, I hope.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it could bring you some insights about Zeekr and the platform and the future work from this company. I thought it was really exciting for me, at least. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, engage to the channel, ask me questions. Maybe I can answer them, since I have got a lot of information from this happening here in Portugal. So I'm glad to share whatever is possible with you guys. Thank you for watching. Speak to you soon.